Tesseract is pitched as a band that sits outside the bonds of any specific genre and pioneers of an ever-evolving music machine, or so it says on the press release. I have to admit that it is a good description of England's Tesseract. Now with their fourth studio album, Sonder, they are continuing that defining sales pitch as a band because it's hard to really give their music one specific genre. So much of metal and hard rock falls into their own specific format of riffs and patterns. There are hundreds of bands that are interchangeable. Tesseract does not have to worry about that as they truly stick to creating unique music. From heavy, thunderous riffs to amazing harmonic melodies, sometimes in the same minute of a song, you get a lot of creativity from one band. My knowledge and history with Tesseract is somewhat limited as I've really only heard an occasional song over the years. While for some that may sound understandable, Tesseract has a fan base who must think I'm crazy for saying that because the band has a lot of people who worship what this band has created over the past several years. I cannot stress enough that when you hear Tesseract as metal, you should not be expecting pounding double bass drums and growling for 45 minutes. Just a minute of listening to the band's new album Sonder will prove that to you. It's a varied album and has some surprises, but it's something you need to experience because my short description does not do justice to the complete album. Coming into Tesseract somewhat blind, I found myself being sucked immediately into the volume. The first two songs, Luminary and King, made me realize I should have checked out this band much sooner. Luminary being a great example of changing from hard riffs to a melody almost seamlessly, and King doing the same while running over 6 minutes in length. It's impressive to say the least. King shows off some of the harder style without going overboard. The guitar work stands out well because it truly carries a rhythm when laying something heavy or smoothly being strummed along also. When I talked earlier about riffs to harmonic melodies, you get a strong sense of that here in this long song as well as the album opener. As I listened through Sonder, I felt that the songs that hit me the most and had me returning were Beneath My Skin and Mirror Image. These songs back to back add great depth to this album and made me appreciate Tesseract much more than I ever thought I would. This is where that slower and atmospheric sound comes in and it really cements the album as something worth checking out. It's hard for me to sell the songs on Sonder as each track has so many peaks and valleys in volume that it's hard to really describe how one specific song can make you feel. While there are so many rock and metal bands who say they don't fit into one specific genre, Tesseract creates whatever they want and I couldn't pin them down to one subgenre if my life depended on it. Beneath the Skin and Mirror Image, which technically are connected, convey a lot of emotion. This is the type of music I can rely on at any moment, which is something I'm always looking forward to finding. While this album runs a bit shorter than some might expect, just over 36 minutes, it leaves a lasting impression in that time. It's hard to explain why you'll enjoy this album without giving more clips to highlight it, but at that point I would just need to play the whole album to give the full effect. And I admit, I don't love every second of it as I do play some songs more than others, but in just over half an hour, Tesseract delivers something powerful. Coming into an album like this blind is totally worth the experience. When one of my biggest complaints about an album is that it's too short and I want more, it's a safe bet to say that I'm enjoying what I'm listening to. This is not an album of singles, but rather it's filled with moving and swaying compositions, and more often than not, it resonates. Label it whatever subgenre you want, but I'm just gonna call it good. Overall, Sonder proves that Tesseract can create something fierce and soothing while seamlessly crossing back and forth between the two. If you're looking to branch out to a band and album that can get loud and help you breathe a little easier, then Sonder is something that will help you think outside the box into another dimension.